Hi everyone, my name is Vivian Wang. I'm a registered dietitian. I work with Family Box to create some easy to make recipes and nutrition tips that go along with the grains and beans that you receive every month. Today, we are going to demonstrate with rye berries to make some rye berry fried rice. In October, you also receive some wheat berries. So let's talk about the differences between those two before we dive into the recipe demo. So both are complex carbs, meaning that they're really rich in fiber in addition to refined carbohydrates. So that means that they are high in fiber and some minerals. For rye berries, they are particularly rich in magnesium and iron compared to wheat berries that are higher in folate and protein. Then when you think about what to make or what to include in your family meals, both are really great sources of carbohydrates. If I were to make decisions, I will actually mix them so I can get the benefits of both types of carbohydrates. Something else that I also did before the cooking demo is doing a lot of meal prep. And that's something I will also encourage to do at home when you have some pockets of time. So for example, this morning I used my rice cooker and my Instant Pot to cook up both rye berries and wheat berries. So for my rye berries, I put on 1 pound of dried rye berries to 4 cups of water that go into my Instant Pot. It took me about 40 minutes and with 10 to 15 minutes of natural release using Instant Pot. With the rice cooker, you might have to adjust based on the instruction that they have for brown rice. Something else I also want to mention with the rye berries is that after I did the batch cooking, I put majority of them into the freezer and I left some of them for today's cooking demo. What I did was I cooled them completely and air dry it, and I put them into these freezer bags and I lay it flat like this. So you see here, this is the rye berries, which is dark green color and also has a nuttier, flavorful taste compared to wheat berries that are a little bit lighter in color. That also reflects in a milder, a little bit sweeter in flavor. So this makes it so easy on a daily basis when you want to just make a quick meal. And you can just pull out however much you want and mix it with other dishes that you want to make, like a stir fry or mix with rice. Um, yeah, makes it very simple and convenient on a busy day. For my fried rice, as you know, there's no specific recipe. You can really put whatever you have in your fridge into your fried rice. As long as you have some vegetables, some protein, and some herbs and spices. What I have here, my personal preference is to have a lot of mushroom. I love mushroom, and it also provides this umami flavor. So my preference is to have more of mushroom and less of protein. And I will have usually in a meal, I will have like a separate protein dish in addition to fried rice. And I also have some corn, some parsley for garnishing in the end. I also have some scallion to separate the white pieces from the green pieces. Some carrots, ginger for some fragrance and sweetness in the dishes. And now I'm going to pull out some garlic that also froze. This is what I did. Same as what I did with the rye berries and wheat berries. I'm gonna use the older one for today's dish. These are fresh from today. So usually I do this while I prepare like certain meals. And I will just prepare a lot more of it and then put aside whatever I need for the day on the countertop, and I put the rest in the freezer. While we are waiting for the heat, let me show you a few things. So I also did something similar with ginger. I will slice them, while I would do it this way into thinner slices. So it depends on the dishes that I make. I'll have different options. You could also do that with garlic, but for me, it doesn't really matter. I just like the fragrance, so I just do it this way. Let's add some olive oil. People worry about using olive oil for cooking, but try to look for the cooking olive oil. And also, I wouldn't worry too much because unless you're frying, usually whatever you're making at home is gonna be fine with olive oil. What's great about Chinese cuisine, in my opinion, is that you can make mistakes. You don't have to follow the recipes to the T, and you can still make really delicious foods. Because as long as you have some herbs and spices and a lot of vegetables, you pull out the natural flavor from these produce, then your food is golden. So after I added the oil, I just added the ginger and garlic. And when the fragrance came out, I just added the mushroom. I cover a little bit because I wanted to speed up the process of cooking. And I don't mind the liquid that may come out from covering like this, because eventually they're going to evaporate as I cook. So now we wait a little bit. Sometimes I will even add a little bit of water just to like induce the steam so it can cook even faster. I'm gonna just add 1 round of salt just to draw the water from the mushroom even more. I don't go crazy with salt in general because there's just so much other flavor that will come out from the natural flavor of the ingredients. And also I will add some soy sauce and sesame oil later. While we wait, I'm going to crack the egg. I wonder, do you guys use chopsticks or forks to scramble the egg? Personally, I like to use fork. It's a lot faster. There are different ways to make fried rice. Some people they like to separate the egg yolk from egg white, and then they kind of embrace the rice with the egg yolk. Today we're gonna keep it simple because this is really geared for people who are busy and having to take care of families. So now that the mushroom has a little bit simmered a little bit more, I uncover it so I can let the water evaporate. Might be a bit too watery than my preference. Just gonna start adding other ingredients. Corn. Again, I prepare more than I need. Just I'll add the white part of the scallion this one. It already smells so good. So because rye berries are a lot chewier than the white rice, if we were to make for a typical fried rice, people might feel concerned about the texture. What we can do is to add a little bit of soft tofu into the mix of the fried rice so that like the overall texture is softer. But that also might invite more liquid. So this is something to kind of balance out and consider. I'm gonna show you a little bit now that it's cooked pretty well. I'm gonna add the rye berries. See, most of the water is gone. This might be my new favorite way to make fried rice because it's so fragrant. The nutty flavor of the rye berries itself just come just overwhelm your palate. So I'm going to add just very little of soy sauce and sesame. Now I'm gonna add some oil. I push aside the rice mix so I can add the eggs in here. I'll just be very cautious with the heat once I start toning down a little bit. You know what? I prepared some spinach, but I think this looks good. And I just add a little bit of parsley. Ready. It's got all kinds of colors with rye berries as a key character. There's some fried rice components, you have scallion, you have ginger, you have garlic, you also have the eggs, mushroom. I will have added a little bit more carrots, but I was just seeing what I had in the fridge, and then that was like a little bit of carrots that I had left. So I just decided to bring it in. But if you have enough, if you have more of it, then add however much you have. And I just remembered that I've cut some bell peppers. So if you really want, and also for the sake of freshness, I sound like refreshing feeling of your fried rice, if you will. Then later on, I'm just gonna cut off these into cubes and to mix it in and to add a bit more color and texture, the crunchy texture. Let's give it a taste. I smell parsley first, but I tasted ginger, tasted the umami from mushroom. And you can't really tell about the rye berries actually. You can tell like the subtle nutty flavor, but it's not overpowering. The sodium I added was just even less than 1/4 tablespoon, a teaspoon of salt. Just that one round of a salt that I grinded. And also less than 1 teaspoon of soy sauce. All the flavor of this dish comes from the natural ingredients in here. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you think of the rye berries and how you switch it up for the vegetables. You can add broccoli, bok choy, kale, if you will, and also obviously spinach. Let me know what you think. Thank you for staying with me. Look forward to your feedback. Thank you.